Hey everybody, Glamp Man here. So behind me you see this big stack of firewood. Yes, I just had a truck deliver to me a cord of firewood. What is a cord, you may ask? Well, it's the most basic way that we measure how much wood in a pile of firewood. So it's basically, if you were to stack this nice and neatly, it would be 8 feet long, 4 feet high, and 4 feet wide. Or it's also 128 cubic feet. And it cost me $220 delivered, which is pretty good because I had another quote of $260. I have one wood-burning stove, and one cord will last me one full season, meaning the spring and the fall. Now the next step is I get to get all this wood, stack it, put it in a little wheelbarrow, wheel it down to under my deck, which I can show you in a second, and we got to store it because you got to keep this wood dry. Dry wood burns much better than wet wood. Remember that. It is a big deal. So yeah, I put my tractor away for the season because winter is almost here. So I'm going to end up doing this with a wheelbarrow. Actually, probably this wheelbarrow right here. So I'm going to stack up the wood, drive it down here under my, and then this is where I keep the wood. Give you a little show here. So yeah, I'm going to stack it all. It'll be nice and dry under here for the winter. You see, this just proves my point. Most people, a lot of people, just don't really know how to work a fireplace. It's not easy. Even me, a seasoned pro, 35 years working with fireplaces and such, even sometimes I can't get the fire to stay lit for very long. It's a lot of variables that go into this, so... Oh, and then, after each time, you gotta clean out the ashes and get rid of the ashes. More work. A lot of work. And now that you've seen everything that goes into maintaining and keeping and giving your guests the beautiful ambience of a wood-burning stove, I'm going to show you the other option, which is a self-running propane wall-mounted heater. And then at the end, you tell me which one you think is better to have. But before we get to that wall-mounted heater, now's a great time to light up and like the like button. So this is the wall mount propane unit. It's Empire brand. It puts out a 15,000 BTU, and you run it with the little thermostat. Here's the thermostat, very easy to use. Set the temperature for the temperature that we would want. And that's it. Easy peasy. So in conclusion, your buddy, your friend the Glamp Man is going to give you the honest truth about this. Now, the options are the cast iron stove or a propane heater. Yeah, the cast iron stove has its perks, you know, it's romantic, it's sends a nice ambiance, you have that smell of the burning wood and very romantic and all that stuff. But man, when you factor in having to buy the wood, stack the wood, store the wood, bring in the wood every time, make sure it stays dry, have guests who may or may not know how to start the fire, have guests who may not know how to keep the fire going, and worst of all, in the really cold days, when they can't keep the fire going and it's midnight and it's 14, 15 degrees outside and they're freezing their buns off, it's just going to lead to a bad review and not nice experience for them. Propane fireplace, click the button. That's all there is to it. It stays warm, they know how to use it, it's very consistent. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention was, with the fireplace, they have to get up every hour during the night to put logs in to make sure that the fireplace keeps going till the morning. That doesn't always happen either. And if we're looking at costs, fireplace maybe slightly less expensive over a year, but when you start to factor in a couple of years, it's really not going to be that different. But the time that you spend with all that extra running around for the wood and storing it and buying it and keeping it clean and stacking it and the dust of the ashes and everything else, I'm going to tell you, as nice as it sounds, as romantic as it is, go with the propane unit as opposed to a real cast iron fireplace. The other option you can do, I don't do it in my campground just because I don't like the idea of open fires. A fire pit is very windy here where I live and there's no fire departments anywhere close. If you can provide an open fire pit for people to make fires outside and, you know, roast marshmallows and do that, I think that is a very good appeasement for having fires and the camping experiences. Now, since we've talked about how to keep your guests warm in the winter, we're going to talk about how you keep them cool and clean in the summer. Click the video below and I'm going to be recommending the best shower bag for your guests. Check it out.